Good morning, it's Dr. Pete, and welcome to the Monday Morning Moment. I'm sorry that I haven't been on in the past couple of weeks. I've been preparing for some upcoming presentations that I've been scheduled to give, and it's really hard on my time. But nonetheless, not an excuse. Here I am today. I love doing these. I love your feedback. It's exciting that people are waiting for my message, so everything's good. So today, what I wanted to do is tell you something sobering, and it's this. That humans, that includes you, are programmed to pretty much do everything they do in life. And that program started when you were inside the womb, and it continued all the way to 7 years of age. The human brain works like this. That when you're young, you don't have a very high brain frequency because you're very young, immature. So you can't do a lot of critical thinking. You can't simply come out of the womb and speak Italian or English or any other language. It takes time to develop that. But the minute you come out, you start observing your parents. Whatever they say, whatever they do, whatever they feel. It's really, really easy to absorb tremendous amounts of data between the age of nothing and 7. That's when you're completely programmed. And why is it between 0 and 7? Because the brain is taking time to get to the place of maturity where it can then go from these lower brainwave frequencies to higher brainwave frequencies. Once you hit the higher brain frequencies, now you can actually speak, you can think critically, you can solve problems, you can do math and puzzles. That's when you're starting to use this beautiful conscious brain. But I'm telling you this, that beautiful conscious brain, I don't care if you're 53 like me or however old you are, it only controls 2% of what you do during a day. 98% of what you do during a day is associated with the unconscious brain and the programs that it developed when you were a kid. I'll give you an example. The other day, a child was in my office, and he's walking around with a telephone. I know this isn't the phone, but it's the case. He picks it up, he's like, Daddy, and he's pressing the buttons. Do you really think that 2-year-old knows anything about what this truly is? Of course not. He doesn't understand data plans and, iPhones or Samsung Galaxies. He doesn't understand any of that stuff. But he knows how to use it. He doesn't have the critical thinking yet, but knows that I just do this with it and I go blah, 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 and I talk. Once in a while I press this. And where is he getting this? He's getting it by observing you. Whether when I say you, either you as the parent and the spouse that goes with it. When you two argue, your infant child is downloading everything about that argument, how it felt, what kind of reaction there was, and they begin to develop programs inside the brain. These programs will run forever. It's been said that if you show me a 7-year-old boy, I will show you the man. Because by the time you reach 7, all these unconscious programs that have been developed, devoid of the high thinking brain, just pulling in data. It's like almost like a recorder. If someone says to you, the trajectory of the Earth around the sun is 365 days in a specific orbit, and he's literally telling you this, what does it do? A child doesn't know what that means, but your brain takes it in and sucks it in as a recorded program. Now, my programs when I was growing up were really kind of cool. It's made me who I am today. I'm a very loving individual who just wants to love and nurture and care for people. That is so simple for me. It is so fulfilling for me. Why is that? Because I was taught this as a child. That truly is my particular program that I learned as a kid. But Doc, haven't you learned thousands of programs? I did. And some of them weren't that good. Some weren't that good. Some of my bias and discrimination and my inability to accept people was also associated with programs that I learned as a kid. So, if you look at your own life and there are places where you're struggling and you're not getting what you want out of life in those particular arenas, it's because you're not programmed for it. You never were. 0 to 7, you weren't programmed that way. If your parents were both factory workers and didn't have too much money in life, the probability is you're probably the same. How come? You don't have a program for wealth. It's not there. If it were there, you'd be wealthy. For me, do I have a program for love? I sure do. Does that make me strong in relationships? Sure does. Does it help me to have a great and prosperous, loving relationship with my wife over the past 26 years? Yes, it has. I'm the happiest dude in town. But I can tell you why. Because my subconscious program, the positive subconscious program that I developed as a kid, wow, I love that. And every day I just use it more and more, so it's getting stronger. But there are some things that I would want in life. I still want. And so do you. I know you do. You want more out of your life, but you can't seem to get it. It just seems like you're driving yourself mad trying to get it. You're not going to get it the way things are at the moment. You either don't have the program to do it because you didn't learn it, or you learn terrible programs which are trying to sabotage you, or the program has been damaged and you need to fix it. Doc, I hope you're going to tell me how to fix myself. I am. I'm just not going to do it today because it's the Monday morning moment and I don't have a lot of time. But I will follow up and show you how to do these things. But what I wanted you to know is that 98% of your day and all the things that you do and the way you behave is not your cognitive thinking brain trying to do that. It's the unconscious brain. All of a sudden you feel angry and upset. For what? Because somebody said something and based on your past programming, that's offensive to you. So you lash out. And the whole lash out you learned how to do from somebody as well. We learn all these programs. We go through our lives. We get frustrated, then we die. And unfortunately, we just pass them on to our children. We don't give them a chance because we think our 0 to 7-year-old doesn't understand what we're saying anyway, so I can argue like hell with the mother. No, you can't. When you're arguing, the child is actually downloading this. It's downloading it into the unconscious brain. Sure, that child can't conceptualize it yet, but the moment that child can learn to conceptualize it and go out on his own, and that program turns on, they're going to be like, what the hell? And people around them are going to say, damn, what the hell? I hate being around that dude. He's a pain in the ass. He just always says these things and does these things. He or she doesn't mean to do that. Those are programs, and you have them too. God, they're awful programs sometimes too, Depends who raised you. Now, if you look at a kid that grew up in a home with a single mom, no father, mom worked 3 jobs just to make ends meet, what about that child? Who's going to teach that child these programs? Well, first of all, when the father left, you learned the program. When the father argued with the mother, you learned another program. When your mother went out and had to rub 2 nickels to make a dime, you learned that program too. And then when you were out on the street, hanging out with kids on the street corner, smoking crack and, being a bully, you learned that one too. Now, by the time you're 25, you can't even cope anymore. You're on your own, and you can't figure out why you're such a mess. They're all unconscious programs. And remember this, 70% of all your unconscious programs, they're negative. See, your unconscious brain is not there to make your life beautiful. Your unconscious brain is simply there to keep you alive. It's a protection mechanism. So you learn to protect yourself, especially when your programs are nasty and angry. So you lash out at people trying to protect yourself. Programming is everything, absolutely everything. So what I want you to think about this week is just try to be aware of your own programming. Doc, how the hell do I do that? This way. When you're having some great moments during the day where everything just seems to be flowing, you're in good conversation, you gave a great hug, you were great at your work, whatever. Wherever makes you feel good and it's so effortless, that's because you're programmed for that. But the things that don't feel good, things that make you feel a little off, a little frustrated, those are the areas where you don't have programs. So you want to learn to develop programs in the future so that you can have everything that you want. Today, I'm not going to tell you how to change the program, but tune in again because I'm going to. What I want you to do this week is just be totally aware that 98% of your day is controlled by your subconscious program and only 2% by the thinking brain. That's not a good odds. And 60 to 70% of your unconscious program is negative. It's there to protect you against threats. That stinks too. So after 7 years of age, if your parents haven't done a really good job, then you're going to begin to suffer as an adult. And you may be suffering right now, just wondering why I just don't get what I want. Awful programming. We've got to learn to understand what our programs are that are good and perpetuate them. And the ones that just don't seem to be working to get us what we want, those are the ones that we're going to focus on and try to fix those, okay? So that's it for Dr. P TV. Now, this is not Dr. P TV. This is my Monday morning moment. But if you have or haven't checked out my Dr. P TV, it's also out there on my YouTube channel. So check that out. I'll put my YouTube channel at the end of this. But I really encourage you to share this information with people because the more people that are getting it, I'm getting great feedback. And I know there's a lot of you out there that are struggling like crazy and you're just looking for some answers. Well, I want to be somebody that helps bring that into the foreground for you, into the light, so you can figure out how to make your life that much better. Keep your eyes and ears open for Dr. P TV and for the Monday Morning Moment. This is Dr. Pete, and I'll see you next week on the Monday Morning Moment.